Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Unnecessary Gentlemen, a podcast where I talk about movies, comics, TV. I'll talk about video games today and other stuff, but I can't do that alone. So with me, I have my always happy co-host, Sean Doyle. Say hey, Sean.
Hello.
There he is, and he's a little happier than normal today because we have a very special guest, don't we, Sean?
Well, I was driving down the road. It was about 2 a.m. Somebody stuck his thumb out. Dylan Gehman was hitchhiking, people. Here he is.
Woohoo! I'm back. Round 2. The sequel.
He's just been trying to find his way back home since the last time we had him on an episode.
Yeah.
But he's back again, and I'm happy to have him. Dylan, how are you this week?
I'm pretty good.
All right, good, man. I'm glad you could find time in your busy schedule to help us out with this episode, because we've got a fair bit of things to talk about, don't we? First of all, we got a little bit of news I'd like to get into, if you guys are all right with that.
That sounds swell.
It's not all right with me, but let's do it anyway.
Well, 1 out of 2 is all I need, Sean. Well, first, it's nothing too big, but it still gets me a little excited. You guys see that picture of Amber Heard as Mira for Aquaman?
That got me excited.
It got you a lot excited?
Yeah.
Because the costume's just dead on?
Well, that too.
Oh, yeah. But no, it looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
Who knew there was so much color in the DC universe?
They didn't even know green existed till they went under the ocean. Yeah. I mean, it looks, pretty accurate to Mara.
Yeah, the only thing she's missing is the crown.
Which I think we saw in the previous picture, actually, if I remember.
I guess we did. I feel like I've seen it before. It either was in that or that small snippet of the Justice League trailer she was in. But again, you didn't really get a good look at that until now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's already like, it's just a picture, but it's already going in the right direction for me for this movie.
A dripping wet Amber Heard gets me excited for the movie.
Because she's such a good actress.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. No, like it's dead on casting at this point. You know, who's to say how the character will be portrayed? We won't know until later in November. You know, depending on how much we get of her in Justice League. But this is also one of those things that, and I'm just kind of speculating, what we see in Justice League character-wise might not even reflect how she'll be written in the Aquaman movie, because this will be James Wan's take on the character and not just whatever Zack Snyder's going to throw in there. You guys got any more news for me? I mean, now that we're all amped up over that picture.
You saw that. You saw that Planet of the Apes trailer. You saw that trailer.
I did see that trailer. Last trailer, actually, and good. They only pumped out 3 instead of the usual 26 or however many they give us. So I'm all. It looks really good. I mean, even from the first trailer, I was already sold. But I don't know. This one was a little different. Like, this one really focused on all the action that we're probably going to see, and not just apes being apes, maybe being better than humans.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm ready to see this movie. This is probably, out of all the like newer rebooted trilogies to kind of come from past projects, this is the one I've really enjoyed. Each movie's gotten better.
They're really good. I don't get too excited about them. Like, I could go see this movie in theaters, or I couldn't. But I still love them. They're really good.
They're kind of smaller blockbusters that come out. Like, they get really critically praised, but you don't hear a ton about them compared to some other films that come out during the summer.
It's like the Star Trek movies. I don't really get excited about them, but I watch them and I like them. I think they're good, but I'm not just like, yeah.
Like, you see Chris Pine on screen and you're like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's not Chris Hemsworth, but he's all right.
But his hair looks pretty good, so I'll allow it. Chris Hemsworth was in the first one, though.
Yeah.
So that's the perfect combination. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. Like Dylan said, not a lot of people kind of go out for these. I mean, they make decent money, but it's not like the big summer movie that huge amounts of people are just flocking to see. But I'm fine with that. Like,
not like Transformers or Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I mean, nothing can be as good as those two, Dylan. But
I'm ready for a crossover
of all 3 of those properties.
No, just Fast and the Furious and Transformers.
Oh, Like Vin Diesel gets in a car and he doesn't realize it's a transformer.
Exactly.
Oh.
What I think's interesting about this movie is you see each side taking in, like, members of the other species. Like, you see the humans taking in a few apes, and you see the apes taking in a human or two. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and they showed a lot more of a lot more close-ups of the humans, the soldiers, designs, and it's odd because you do say, like you said, you have some apes going over to the side of the humans, but they're not even like really accepting them. They're just kind of using them, and because on the back of their helmets it says like monkey killer and everything, and they're keeping them close by and making sure they don't have too much. Like, always being supervised, I assume. Like, I mean, I wouldn't stick those monkeys with guns around me if I didn't already trust the rest of them I'm fighting. And it looks like this is Caesar's story. This whole trilogy has been Caesar's story, which I've really enjoyed. They get a different actor in to play the human character to kind of put focus on that. And I think either the director, Matt Reeves, or Andy Serkis, one of the two, recently said that this is the last of his story.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but they didn't. I think they already pretty much said they're going to come out with sequels after this. But
Yeah. Well, you got a whole few thousand years until Charlton Heston pops out of that ship, so you got a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah, but honestly, like, I mean, as long as this one looks really great, and if it is, like, I'm done with these movies, I think. Like, I don't need 4 or 5 more of these.
Is it really 2,000 years?
Something like that.
Shit.
It's rough stuff. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. July is when that one comes out, right, John?
July the 14th.
Yeah, I'll be there. You'll be there too.
I'll be there.
And until then, let's cover some more news. What you got for me, Sean? Or Dylan?
You got something, Dylan?
I saw some leaked Inhumans trailer screen grabs, and Medusa's hair doesn't look any better.
Well, that's not what you want to hear. Apparently they already got the Friday slot.
Yeah.
The Friday death slot. Oh, so...
Well, that's... the Friday slot isn't as bad as it used to be back in the day.
No, but, I mean, it's certainly nothing like... No one wants that slot. So, I don't know how much faith they even have in this after these initial responses to the... Medusa's hair especially looks really awful. I feel like this project, as it's gone through the years, just, got less and less priority, and now they're more or less just doing it to do it. Hopefully I'm wrong, we won't know for sure until the first episode comes out and we get a real idea of where this is going to go.
Do you have any plans to actually see this in the theaters? Because, the first 2 episodes are going to be in IMAX.
Are they free?
They're not going to be free. You're going to have to pay for them.
Well, then I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I mean, not for... maybe this is for, like, a bigger title. Like, if this had been Daredevil or, before Iron Fist came out, I would have said Iron Fist. But, yeah, just something that isn't this, maybe. Because I don't know a lot about the Inhumans. I'm definitely interested to know more, but I have a feeling that isn't... Like, this show isn't going to give me that.
Yeah, I think the first 2 episodes are going to be... I think it's September the 1st. You can watch them in IMAX theaters. And then that next week or whenever, it's going to start airing on TV. So, I mean, you get it for free eventually anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no real incentive to kind of get me to go to that. Other than, I mean, it can't look great, even in IMAX, given I'm sure the budget and the effects they're going to have to work around. So,
although we didn't... I imagine we'll get a trailer within like a week or so. We didn't see any pictures of Lockjaw, but apparently he looks pretty decent from what some people said who saw the trailer. Okay.
Yeah, this is a show I'm definitely going to stick close by and see what comes out. Definitely want to see a trailer, with some footage this time. So, I hope it's good. I really do. But my hopes are just kind of... They're middling right now, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of trailers, we got the official trailer for Fox's Gifted series. Did you get a chance to look at that this time?
Nope.
We just saw the teaser last week. It looks fine. I mean, it looks about as good as, a Fox X-Men TV show can look. The effects are... You see a lot more effects than, like, from the Runaways trailer or even another trailer we'll get to in a second. I'm sure Sean wants to talk about, but I just don't know if the story is that engaging to me. I can't remember the mutant they're using. Polaris, maybe? I think is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the two of them. It's like a brother and sister, and the brother discovers his mutant powers, and the sister at first I think kind of trains him, but then he doesn't know how to control his, and he seems to be more powerful. So then they have to go on the run. But the twist is like their dad is part of this organization that takes mutants in, anti-mutant group. So, have some trouble at work and home. So we'll see how he deals with that. But it looks fine. I might give it an episode.
I'm not giving it anything.
Dylan, these are all the only TV shows you watch are the Marvel TV shows.
I watched Fargo season 1 and 2, and they were actually really good. Thank you, Sean.
You haven't even done that, Snoop.
I haven't. But
and you call yourself a TV fan.
I'm sorry. I'm a huge disappointment at this podcast.
Is this the end of The Unnecessary Gentlemen?
I mean, we haven't really gotten started yet, so hopefully not, but I don't know. Sean, you look like you're thinking about something over there. What are you thinking about?
Thinking Arby's.
What episode is this for you guys?
13?
Lucky 13.
Woo!
Something's going to happen.
Get that big promotional deal.
As long as you don't lose all the recordings like last time. Does that count?
No, we threw that one out. Threw it out the window. Like I said, if I ever find it, I'll put it up, but as far as everyone else knows, it doesn't exist.
Do it out with Snoop's hopes. Yeah, we got to talk about that Black Lightning trailer.
There you go. I see. I was setting you up for that, but you had Arby's on the brain.
Yeah, curly fries, bro. Curly fries.
They're probably eating some Arby's in Black Lightning.
Wow.
They look like
wow, Snoop.
What?
Way to stereotype.
That people love Arby's?
Yeah.
That your average blue-collar worker loves Arby's?
Let's talk about Black Lightning before Snoop's prejudice gets in the way of this great podcast.
Sorry. I'll try to control myself. But yeah, it looks fine. It looks like the CW.
Yeah. Now, this isn't going to be set in the Flero-verse, whatever you want to call it.
It's not?
No.
What's the point?
I don't know. I think the main reason is because the rest of the superhero shows are filmed in Vancouver, and this is being filmed in Atlanta.
Oh, so it would be kind of difficult to...
Yeah.
Well, they could still negotiate there.
Yeah, and they might change that. And plus, you got the whole multiverse, so they're somewhere out there.
Oh, you think they're on a different Earth?
Yeah, they probably are.
That would actually make sense from the trailer, because we see that at one point, like, he had been Black Lightning at one point before when the show's going to take place. So yeah, for none of the characters from Arrow or Flash ever to mention that actually makes more sense. But I don't know, I'd still get it in there somehow. That's kind of the fun of these shows, is if you are going to have this many, get those crossovers in. Do you see the big crossover?
Yeah.
I saw parts of it. It's actually all right.
Yeah, that's fine. Special effects aren't great in it.
No.
It's CW, so I'll give it a pass, but yeah.
Yeah, I think what it is, and I mentioned this to you the other day when we both watched it, that there's some that are really bad, there's some that are okay, and then there's some that are just, reused effects from the other shows. Like, there's a part where he... Dylan, have you seen this trailer?
Yep.
Okay, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but there's a part where he's, like, charging up lightning, and he's, like, floating in the air, and, it's just blue lightning hitting him. That looks pretty bad. But then there's, like, where he's shooting lightning out of his hands. It just looks like Captain Cold's cold gun, so...
I was going to say, it's also, they're reusing a few sets here. You see Barry's lab in this. You see that apartment that about 4 or 5 different characters have had throughout all those shows, where they just move a couch around and call it somebody else's apartment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The fighting looks okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look
Seeing
bad.
Rough some people up. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like it's nothing more than what I expected. I knew what this was when they announced it was for the CW. I was just excited to have this character announced because I would have never really thought we'd get to see him in live action. And the actor playing him, he looks like he'll do a pretty good job.
Yeah, Chris Williams.
Yeah, he looks fine. They kind of has like a Luke Cage vibe going for him. Just like the poor man's Luke Cage. Wow. The CW's Luke Cage.
Again with your prejudice. What do you think of the suit?
I like parts of it. Yeah. I don't like the front. I don't know why.
I think it's too bulky is the main problem with it.
Yeah, he's got a big chest plate. That dude seems like he's pretty decent size on his own. I don't know why they felt the need to give him that, but they change these CW shows change suits every season, or even before the season ends. Arrow gets a new suit every season, so I imagine it's one of those things they'll do where they work out the kinks later on.
Yep.
You got to see his daughters a bit, who we know are going to be Thunder and Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I think we only see one of them kind of get powers in it, though. Do you know who that was?
That was probably Lightning. The other one, Thunder, has the power to basically earthquake powers. Like, she'll stomp the ground and make an earthquake.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, I you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, because this is still CW, is they really work those two in there and get them, power them up as soon as possible, because it's, CW stereotype is to get the young, attractive kid to play the main superhero. This was a bit of a twist because, Black Lightning is a father and he's older, but
I do like that he's just a superhero already. I mean, he's coming back, but, you don't have somebody, like, standing over him, like, teaching him everything like you normally do with this stuff.
Oh, yeah, that would have been weird. I didn't even think about that. I guess, yeah, but that's another thing about his powers, and we both weren't sure on this, and I'm going to ask Dylan, do you think that he has powers, Dylan, or do you think it's just in the suit?
I think he has powers, because when he was standing there getting pissed off at those cops, the streetlight was flickering.
Oh, okay.
And he was in his little suit.
He is in his little suit. Well, that's the thing. We see at one point, and this is what confused me, is that he's working on that suit when he's, like, getting back in the game, and he's, like, messing with these weird power gauntlets, and then he puts one on, and then it glows. So that makes me think maybe it almost makes me think that maybe it enhances his powers, where he can actually do something.
Like, maybe allows him to even control it better.
Yeah. Which, that could be interesting. That's not how the comics normally are, I don't think. He usually just has lightning powers. So, I kind of like that if it's true. But, yeah, I'll give this an episode, or probably a whole season, like I do with all the other CW stuff. So, and as long as it's not worse than what they normally are, then I'm sure it'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I do have one more thing of news that'll mean nothing to you guys, but I want to get it out on the podcast. They announced that they're going to make a Witcher TV series. So The Witcher is a series of video games that they just finished the last one with The Witcher 3. Basically, it's about Geralt, who is a Witcher.
Wait. His name is Geralt?
Geralt, with a T.
Geralt.
Makes him cooler instead of just Gerald. But, yeah, basically, he just...
Sorry.
It's fantasy.
That makes it cooler than Geralt.
Talk about your little video game, Snoop. Go ahead.
You guys are such assholes. See, I knew this was going to be a bad episode to bring this up because Dylan's here. But anyway, basically, Witchers are, in this world, they're monster hunters. So people hire them to, like, kill this dragon that's been eating my crops, or, this elf keeps stealing my shit. Like, just that. But the overall story is there's the... Would you shut up? There's these demons who are... They show up every, like, I think it's like hundreds or thousands of years, and just called the Wild Hunt. And his apprentice is somehow linked to these demons. And so he eventually has to protect her, and throughout the series, eventually find her again and keep her safe. But it's I've only played the third game, which was the last one that came out, and it's a pretty big cult series for gamers. And I really enjoyed the third one. It was kind of weird getting into the story, like just jumping in, because it does carry over from the first game. But this game was made well enough and it was written well enough where it got you pretty much up to speed, and you got a sense of all the characters that you saw and like who they were to the main character, Geralt with a T. And so there was talks about making a movie out of this. So I'm actually really glad they announced the series, because there's so much story in this that if you even wanted to attempt to get it right, it'd have to be a TV show. So, yeah, just keep up with it and forget it's a video game, and you might actually be interested. You bunch of dickheads.
You gonna watch that, Dylan?
What was it called? The Witcher?
Yeah, The Witcher. Just look it up.
Okay. I got some news.
What is it?
Tom Hardy's gonna be Venom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is going to be Venom. All right, I do care about that, but I'm not sure if I like it.
I mean, he's a great actor, but...
Oh, he's the greatest actor of our generation. I mean, not my generation, but the generation before me. I claim him. But, no, he's an amazing actor. I love him in anything he's in. But, I don't know. I've said this before to Sean. I've said it to you. I don't know what Sony's doing. I don't like it. This isn't going to be part of the MCU, Sean reminded me, and then I got even more upset. What do you think, Sean?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, but I kind of see a problem happening here where, like, if Marvel Studios wants to adapt the Venom saga, like, you have Sony over here with their version of Venom.
Yeah, I would imagine they just wouldn't even do it.
Is Sony wanting... I mean, Sony has... They can just say no if Marvel wants to use Venom.
Do anything.
Yeah. Anything involving Spider-Man or his related characters, they still have that power to just say no.
Yeah.
I mean, are they trying to build a franchise out of this? What are their plans exactly? Because Venom, he's a villain. He's not...
Yeah. I think they're definitely building towards something. This isn't just like a one-off movie. They wouldn't get someone as big as Tom Hardy to do that role if they didn't want to make something out of it. I think what they want to do is see what they... Because there's stories with Venom, like just speaking of Venom alone, there's stories with Venom, different versions of them that necessarily don't involve Spider-Man. Obviously, Eddie Brock if they're going to use Eddie Brock, that's already a misstep, because that story and everything with his origin is so closely connected to Spider-Man. But you have Agent Venom, and it seems, there's rumors that that's what they want to go with. That's the story of Flash Thompson, and basically he's given the Venom suit, but it's been tweaked, like the government owns it somehow, and it's been tweaked where he can only wear it, for a certain amount of time, and it's more of a Spec Ops type deal, and he just goes on missions and does stuff like that, and that doesn't really involve Peter Parker, but...
I could see that because Tom Hardy's pretty old.
Yeah. Well, he is being cast as Eddie Brock, not Flash Thompson.
Oh, they confirmed that? Okay, see, I just saw Venom, and I also saw... I knew I was going to forget his name. It's the guy who directed Zombieland, is the director for this.
Ruben... Ruben Fletcher.
Ruben Fletcher, yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I love Zombieland. I haven't really seen any of that guy's other work, but that was a good movie. And I love Tom Hardy. I love Venom. But the fact that this isn't connected to the MCU, it's not connected to Spider-Man as of right now, that makes me not really care. Because it's... like you said, like, what are they working towards? Maybe they would want to go a completely different route and do their own stories, so they can't say that they messed up the comics. Mm-hmm. maybe Venom or someone else like got rid of Spider-Man, and this is kind of like years after, where villains are just running amok.
Yeah.
Oi! Hey, get out of there! Sorry, I'm watching my friend's dog. It's the newest animal to the podcast.
What does that dog think about this whole Venom nonsense?
She's only like 2 months old, so she probably doesn't think about much other than I want to eat and chew on everything.
Piss in your bed.
She did piss in my bed. But she cute, though. But, yeah, she doesn't look too happy. I mean, there's sadness in those eyes. She's like, it just doesn't make sense, Snoop. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm kind of beginning to think the heads at Sony are starting to regret this whole deal they made with Marvel.
But that's the thing, they can pull out whenever they want. But I guess they know that there'll be bad enough blood already with them, because there are rumors of them getting rid of it after Homecoming 2, or whatever that'll eventually be called. So yeah, I'm really counting on Disney to just buy this back, because otherwise, it's gonna be problems for them more than us, obviously. I mean, I'm used to bad Spider-Man films at this point, so, but they, working Peter into the MCU and it being received as well as it has, I wouldn't want to give that up. So, I don't know. We're gonna keep this news close to our chest, boys. We're gonna be on the lookout for more.
There, put it right under my pacemaker, so close to my chest.
Just like having Tom Hardy next to your pacemaker. You never felt more safe.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't understand anything he's saying to you, just like in The Revenant. But
have either one of you ever seen the movie Bronson?
Yes.
That's the one. Yeah, he's the big muscle dude.
Yeah. That's an amazing performance.
Yeah, he's such a good actor. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people are already back on board for this movie with that announcement alone, and I don't necessarily blame them. But again, like, at the end of the day, I know I know the studio that's making this movie. I know their track record, so I'm not holding my breath for anything great. Sorry, Sony, if you're listening. Well, I think that's all the news I got, guys. Not a whole lot, but still pretty important things popped up.
Is it time to talk about James Franco's new movie?
I read a review, and I'm not even joking, that this was his best role. That's what someone said. And not, don't say anything yet right now, but yeah. Oh, all right. Well, so yeah, like Dylan said, let's just get into our main segment for the day. We all went and saw that new Alien film. I made Sean do it, and then Dylan tagged along because he loves anything space and anything alien.
I give it a shot. I want to.
He gave it a he gave it a red hot go. Yeah. So I figured, as per usual, for a review, we can go non-spoilers, talk a little bit about stuff, and then just spoil the hell out of it for anyone else who made that sacrifice. You guys all right with that? I mean, I'm going to do it anyway, so just say yes.
The audacity. Look at the balls on this guy. Can you believe him?
Someone's got to take charge in this podcast, Sean.
Sorry.
Jeez.
Just my feathers are so ruffled right now.
I can tell. Pat him down, Dylan. But yeah, so first off, all right, non-spoilers. There's a story in there.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about it?
Dylan, did you like this movie?
No. I didn't.
Snoop, did you like this movie?
I did not.
I thought I was going to see an alien movie, and I went and saw a Prometheus movie.
Yes, we can say that already. This is everything that people hated about Prometheus, they said they weren't going to put in this film. They said it was going to be an alien film. I can't believe Ridley Scott lied to my face.
I can.
I can, but how can he lie to everyone else, Sean? How can he lie to our dear listeners? Make them. But yeah, this is. I don't know why he did that, because no one, Prometheus was pretty poorly received overall.
Well, Prometheus has like a actual fan base, surprisingly.
But not a big enough one as Alien.
Well, I was talking about this earlier. Prometheus feels like Ridley Scott wanted to do something interesting and unique. Like, yes. I think the ideas behind Prometheus, going to meet your maker and all this and that, interesting. But then he sticks it with the Alien franchise for some odd reason.
Yeah, like if that had been a movie by itself, it probably would have been fine.
And the two do not mesh at all.
No, and there's an issue with, I can go ahead and say it, with Prometheus, that's even bigger in this sequel, is this movie thinks it's smarter than it is.
Yes.
And like you said, the themes, the ideas are interesting, and like at their base, they're there, but they're just so poorly executed that it makes you mad, because it just makes me feel like I'm supposed to, discover something by watching this film, but it's just so obvious and, poorly handled that I don't care. It just makes me mad.
No, they had a real opportunity with the Prometheus movie and this kind of sequel to do something really cool and cosmic about human origins, but they just fucked it up.
Yeah, there's nothing profound about this movie, and I just it's weird because he wanted to make this smart film and address these concepts of like where we came from and like what is the next step past us, and he mixed that in with like a generic horror slasher kind of theme, which that's not really what Alien is. I mean, it's obviously like Alien, the first two are scary, but not in that generic like Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street way.
The first Alien, it has this very claustrophobic feel, like, they're stuck on a spaceship with this creature and they can't leave, like they have no choice but to be there with it.
Yes.
And that's horrifying, especially back in 1979. And then by the time you get to this point, we've seen so much of this stuff that you just don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's almost like, again, because like people, especially fans of these movies, did not like Prometheus. So he promised to kind of get back to what Alien was about. And maybe if I hadn't seen any of these movies, this kind of would have been, I would have felt differently. But like you said, this is just more of the same in a worse way because I knew what was going to happen. And they didn't even try to hide the fact. Like, it's almost like they're like, yeah, we know you guys are expecting this, so we're not even really going to bother hiding it. And that ruins it.
And I think one of the biggest problems with this franchise right now, this applies to Prometheus as well, these characters are just so forgettable. Like, you don't have a Ripley or a Hicks to latch onto in these ones. It's just, you don't care about anybody.
No, they really, in this one, they tried more, I think, to kind of get that Ripley character, but it was just a carbon copy. Not even a copy. It was just a generic attempt at that. Because what makes Ripley, such a standout character, especially in the first Alien, is that you don't even realize that she's the main character until later on in the film. And then you really are like, oh, this is the person I'm following, and this is who I'm attached to. And when it goes later in sequels, and she comes back after being cryogenically frozen, and she, her family has died, aged past her and died, and she's lost her daughter that she left. It's heartbreaking, and then she finds Newt and kind of takes on this motherly role again. But there's nothing of that in here. They just kind of want you to feel for these characters right out of the bat, especially in the opening sequence, and you're just like, I don't know who this is, so I'm not sad.
Like, you have all these characters in this movie, and they were talking about, oh, this is my wife over here. They, mentioned that halfway through the movie, and you're like, wait, they were married? Like, you have no attachment to any of these people at all.
Yeah, and so, did you guys see any of the YouTube videos that have been put out before this film?
Yeah, some of them.
What about you doing?
What are you referencing?
Yeah, so I guess he hasn't then. Yeah,
like trailers and stuff?
No, so basically they're releasing clips, and they were scenes with this crew that take place before this film. So, and you said you saw some, Sean?
Yeah.
So, did that kind of help you a little more? Because I knew nothing about these characters going in,
I guess,
so I'm thinking...
but at the same time, that's not how you should go into a movie.
No.
You know what? I'll give praise to Michael Fassbender, as he's both David and Walter in this.
Yeah, that's great.
But we'll get into their odd relationship in spoilers.
Yeah, but acting wise, he's definitely the only one that...
He's the one that even stands out, at all.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily blame that on the actors. I'll admit that, Michael Fassbender was definitely both his characters were the bigger focus of this film, so they had more to do. And they kind of wanted, I don't know the actress's name, but you've seen her in the trailers. You already get a sense of this is that Ripley character. That I didn't really care anything about her. not the actress's fault, just wasn't anything going on with her. Danny McBride did a lot better in this film than I necessarily expected him to. I'd heard he could do more serious roles, and even then he still kind of had this undertone of comedic relief. But yeah, I think I think he actually did pretty well, but that might just be because I'm used to the other kinds of movies he's in. Mm-hmm. Plus, he had a cool cowboy hat.
His name was Tennessee.
It was Tennessee, yeah. But yeah, it's just like even with Michael Fassbender being in there as much as he is, just
okay. Well, let me ask you. This was in a way, this was a little bit of a return to the more horror elements of the first movie. I mean,
yeah.
Were there kind of any scary stuff in this movie for you, or?
So there were. I'll say, we're still not spoilers. I'll say that there were supposed to be a lot of moments in there, like that, but none of them really delivered for me, and I'll kind of get into why later on.
I think there was one moment that was pretty intense about halfway through the movie. But
okay, I might know what you're talking about, but yeah, a lot of this, and that's where I kind of mentioned that it was, this kind of just turns Alien into this horror slasher flick, because, there's a lot of deaths in Alien and Aliens, but the way it's handled and the way it's shot isn't like a true horror film to me. Like, it's still scary as shit, don't get me wrong, but it's more of this, like, it builds this tension that this movie can't really do for me. And I don't know.
I agree with that. It's
what are you gonna say?
I don't know. I just feel like most of the good actual xenomorph stuff you see in the trailers.
Oh yeah, that's fair. One we can talk about. It's a pretty big part because it's in the trailers. Is the xenomorph on the ship when they're flying or whatever? Yeah, that like you said, we already saw that, and there's another scene. I think it's the one. I know it's in the trailer. It's the one where there's a couple in the shower.
Yeah.
You see that whole like scene. It's not even just like them in the shower. Like in the trailer, you see them get sliced up.
And that's straight from like a slasher movie from the 80s where like teenagers get killed for having sex or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's not what these films were when they were originally made.
And one thing I hate about this movie, and also with Prometheus, everybody in here is an idiot. Like, okay, go back to Prometheus. You have the two guys, like, they're searching for alien life and whatever. They find evidence of it. They get scared and run away. It's like, that's what you're here to do. That's what you've prepared yourself to do. And the same thing with this one. Like, they land on an alien planet, and they're just like, oh, there's beings here before. Oh, wheat. Oh. Like, they react stupidly to everything.
There's a lot of instances, like, this entire story is just driven by people making idiotic decisions that they were supposedly trained to handle. Yeah. And that's another reason why I don't care about any of these characters, because if you're that much of an idiot, you deserve whatever happens to you on this planet. It's just, ugh. And I think why they did that is because there's one character that is kind of written a little better where, she's like, hey, we probably shouldn't do this. So maybe that's why they, to make her look smarter and more prepared.
Well, yeah, well, even the reason they go to the planet itself, they do it on a whim. Like, they're supposed to go to another place that they spent literally years and billions of dollars preparing to make sure this planet's just right for human survival. No, let's go to this other planet. We don't want to go back to sleep.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid, and we'll definitely, that's the main thing I want to get into. But I guess one more thing that I can think of for non-spoilers, and then you guys can add anything else. How are the designs of the aliens in this film? Like, how they look to you?
Oh, you're talking about the classic Alien or some of the...
Just anything you saw, like, that, aliens wise, like, did they look good? Did they look bad?
Yeah. The actual xenomorphs looked awesome.
Yeah, they look fine, I guess. It's kind of, I guess, just comparing it to the original, it's just seeing fully CGI versions of these creatures are now a little bit off-putting to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I kind of I'm inclined to agree with Sean, because I noticed one thing that, there's a lot of aliens in this film, at least, which isn't, they fixed that problem with Prometheus. People complained about Prometheus there not being basically any, so they definitely threw in a lot more. I think the ones, because they're all CGI, I think the ones that you see at nighttime look better than the ones you see like out in the open during the day. And I don't know. I feel like
the neomorphs,
is whatever they're called. There's too many Mighty Morph in Rangers, but yeah, I like Sean said, it is kind of you notice it when something like this is all CGI and you've seen what it was before. It's weird how it should look better, but it's not to me. Like it certainly doesn't look bad. I'll say that. And
it's kind of like, watching Yoda in the original Star Wars trilogy and then watching him in the prequels.
Yeah, that puppet looks better.
Yeah. And you really can't get like the close up of like the actual aliens, like snarling mouth, like quivering and growling, and like they never showed that in this movie. And that was kind of like really puts the fear. Like they don't have any, like they're all kind of far away scenes, or just really quick moving. Like you don't get a good look at the alien. Like, I mean, I assume everyone just knows. I assume they assumed that everyone just knows what it looks like and didn't really want to show it too much, but like how it really looks. But yeah, that's part of the fear that it's supposed to put in people.
Yeah, I didn't even. That's actually a good point. Yeah, a lot of the shots in this film of the aliens were, wide shots or just kind of mid shots. You don't really get like if you get a close up of one, it doesn't linger. Like it's just pretty quick.
Yeah, like a jump scene.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what those original films kind of like really hammered home, because those were the most, those parts, the face and everything had the most detail put into them, and so they shot it that way. And as Sean said before, like the first two films had this sense of dread and just everything's just closed in on you, and these things are coming for you. So yeah, that's just that's what I'm saying. All the good stuff that people really enjoy about Aliens was either not included in this or just worse versions of it. And I think it was just because Ridley Scott wants to tell this new story, and Sean's right. He should have just made a separate, world for this. They didn't have to necessarily be connected to the Alien universe. If you're gonna, make another Alien movie, make an Alien movie. And this was a closer go than the last one, but it's still off for me.
I liked the aliens in Alien versus Predator better than these aliens.
They do look a little better from memory. And the story's just as good as this one. But if that's all you guys got for, just off the top of your head, we could probably go into some spoiler stuff now.
Let's do it.
All right, so spoilers ahoy, guys. I'll tag it later in the episode. Dylan, you're our very special guest, so what would you like to spoil first?
The whole first, I'd say 45 minutes is basically like Prometheus.
Yeah, even the opening scene is with old Guy Pearce again. Yeah.
Speaking of which, so I watched Prometheus like a week ago to kind of get ready for this again.
Yeah.
And that makeup on Guy Pearce in Prometheus is terrible.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, and I didn't want to see it to kind of put that sour taste in my mouth, but I've read that it's really bad, and I guess, they just used more CGI and makeup on this one, so it didn't look as rough to me. But plus, he's only in there for like a second. I liked that opening scene. I thought it was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, he said some intriguing things that I was like, maybe this movie will do something. But yeah,
it picks up those themes that started in Prometheus. Who's my creator? And then you can already see that David has a sense of he's better than his creator.
There's a good moment where Guy Pearce's character asks him to get him some tea, and he hesitates. He has to ask him twice.
Yeah, and it's just, and you see how he got his, you see how he gave himself his name or when he looked at the statue. And I like it's fine, but that alone already kind of like gave me a hint. Is like, this is going to be a true sequel to Prometheus and not that, a true alien movie like they already said they were going to do this time. And it's just Ridley Scott came up with this idea, and it's not a bad idea, but don't mix the two. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy Michael Fassbender in this role. It's just a shame that it's wasted on such a poor story, because even as Walter, who's, I think that's the next scene in the movie, right? Is the ship kind of going through that weird storm, and you already see like, Walter shows up. He's got slightly different hair. He's got the heavy accent, and the way he walks is more robotic than David was, or it's not as graceful even. So I mean, that man can act like no one's business. So, but I don't know. Also, I have a question.
What's that?
What's the point of a crew if you're just gonna put them to sleep and then something awful happens, and then it's like, well, we better wake them up now, but before the ship. Just have them awake. Like, have multiple crews. And just have them switch out sleep cycles. It's so dumb. I'm glad someone died, but why was it James Franco? Why was he in this movie?
Probably because Danny McBride wanted them to hang out. He's like, these people suck. I need somebody to hang out with. Please get James Franco.
They probably promised he could do an Alien parody if he did it.
All right, so basically this movie, we find out, we already knew that, the humans created, like, David. Wayland created David. And, David is he's a particular, what are they, like, cyborgs? Synthetics or whatever. He's, like, the very first one, I think, or, like, still kind of a prototype. But his mind is, like, he has an awareness, like...
Yeah, he can think too freely.
Yeah, a little too freely. That leads his motivations to, like, basically want to create this perfect species. And that's kind of where we find him in this movie, about halfway through. You find out he's been experimenting, trying to make the perfect creature, which is the xenomorphs. So to sum that all up, Michael Fassbender is basically responsible for creating the aliens as we know them. You even see the eggs that, you see all in Aliens. You see, that room full of eggs. He was the one to create those. And he was basically just waiting for, like, a live subject because the chick from the first Prometheus had died. Yeah.
There's supposedly, because, like, that's one thing that kind of bothered me, is I saw the trailer with the person under the hood shooting the gun in the air or whatever. I assumed that was going to be...
Elizabeth Shaw.
Elizabeth Shaw, Naomi Rapace's character. And then it ended up being David. And so, that already opens a lot of questions if you've seen the first film, because the engineer ripped his head off, and then they kind of go over that where they're like, it's been 10 years since that happened. So, he's been repaired, and he says that Elizabeth did it. But the thing is, he was he caused so many problems in the first movie. She knew that. The only reason she took him with him is because she needed help. He was the only one around. Why would she risk giving him a body? Just leave him like a head. It's like, and then obviously it came back to bite her, and he experiments on her. A lot of people are saying that's how he got the face hugger eggs in the first place, is by using her like ovaries or something to produce them. Because he says he's going to do the same thing to the new Ripley character. She's not important. I can't remember her name. Daniels, maybe?
Yeah, Daniels, what they call her. It's Catherine Watterson, is the name of the actress.
Thank you. Yeah, like, again, not her fault, just a worthless character. But yeah, he says he's like, I'm going to do the same thing I did to Elizabeth. You don't really know if that, like, again, this is just all speculation. They don't even really give you an idea. You just find her body on the table, which is kind of a big, like, people liked that character, and she could have been interesting. There's 10 years of gap, like, there's a 10-year gap of stories. Ridley Scott wants to make 5 Alien films. Why would you not kind of do more stories with them to kind of get us to this point? It's weird to, like, because I didn't care about the characters from Prometheus. This could have been a chance to kind of get me on board with the 2 remaining ones. But he just throws in a whole new cast of characters to get, murdered.
Yep.
It's a big misstep for me. Like, this story is just, like I said, this story is just full of weird nonsense. People are, like, it wants to be a smart film, so profound, and introduce all these new ideas. And it also wants to be this alien throwback while wanting to be a horror film.
I like how they paraded their concept art throughout the movie with the little dolls and the sketches.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I don't really care for this whole, let's give the xenomorphs some convoluted background. They're just aliens. They don't need not everything needs an explanation.
Yeah, I think in the original one, how it gets on the ship is it's just floating around in space, and then it hits them. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
And I think they introduced this idea back in, I guess, Alien 3 or 4, where whatever the alien breeds with, it kind of takes those physical characteristics. So I guess that's how they kind of wanted to introduce why the xenomorph is so human-like, is David eventually, we see he creates them. But yeah, it's just, and this planet is, like, Sean, you mentioned it earlier, and we can go ahead and talk about it. The reason they go to this planet is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Some kind of blast fucks up their sails.
Well, yeah, it's a mix of just...
Yeah, they get a signal, John Denver's Take Me Home, which why would anybody even, like that song? It's like 100 years in the future. But, yeah, they get this signal coming from this planet, and they kind of, check the planet out. They're like, oh, it's hospitable to human life and all this and that. Let's go there. It's like, you don't really know anything about the planet. This other planet you go into, you spent a lot of time researching. Like, you're gonna risk, like, they have 2,000 colonists, asleep on there. You're gonna risk, like, everybody's lives just on something that might happen.
Yeah, and they kind of use lamp shading, and they have Daniels point out, this is a bad idea, and we're just supposed to be okay with that. Like, oh, well, at least they point out how dumb it is. That doesn't work. Like, it just makes no sense. It would make more sense if, like, the storm caused their ship to crash on that planet. That's all you need. Yeah. It's just that. Like, that whole opening, like, I was already kind of tired of the whole opening because, we had just unnecessary scenes where it's like, hey, we have to go, the ship got hit with a storm. James Franco got killed. We got to, watch an iPad video with him to figure out who he was.
Just in my head right now, an easy way to do it would be like, hey, we got hit by this storm. It destroyed our sleep pods. We can't go back to sleep. And, we don't have supplies to stay alive for 7 years. Our only chance is to go to this planet. I mean, that's
nearby, yeah.
I mean,
and, like,
that's all you need.
I thought the chick character from Prometheus, I thought she would, like, send out some kind of signal, like, do not come to this planet is death, or something.
Yeah, well, that was a different planet, because she leaves that at the end of Prometheus to go to, like, where, what the makers are, the engineers, and they make it, and Michael Fassbender's character drops that, I thought
it was the same planet.
No.
Looked the same.
Yeah. That scene that you're talking about where, none of it makes sense how they end, because you don't know if they actually just landed there or if they crashed there, and that's why he was sending out the signal.
Yeah, that scene you have with Michael Fassbender where he's killing the engineers, that's, I'm assuming, what actually happened.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So, because that was a weird place to throw that in there, because that immediately tipped us off that, like, again, if you've seen Prometheus, this robot needs to go. Like, you shouldn't trust him. But so, even if you were going into this movie, never have seen Prometheus at least, and you think like, okay, this guy's, something's off about him, but he's fine right now. They just drop that flashback in there, and it's not even like, hey, they don't set it up like, hey, a character doesn't go, what happened to you? Or, it would be different if someone asked, what happened to Elizabeth Shaw and you when, how'd you end up here? He tells the story and then it kind of cuts in and out of that flashback to see that he's lying and to see what actually happened. This is just, he walks out into one of the main places where he dropped the virus and then it just plays the whole thing and it just takes you out of that scene. So if he did this movie frustrated
I was just thinking about how dumb it was when they first got there. And, they have all the engineers' dead bodies, like, all around them, thousands of them, and they're just walking.
They weren't surprised to see any kind of alien formations.
If I saw all those dead bodies, I was like, oh, something's off here, let's leave. Nope. It just kept on going.
And he's still around. And it's one of those things that, so it's just a lot of questions are raised because they just didn't bother to cover their bases, where we find out that it looks like he sent out that beacon. Either she sent it out before he eventually killed her, or he just set it up. You don't actually see a true video you just see this weird hologram that looks like Elizabeth Shaw. So how did he get stranded on that planet, or did he just want people to come there? And it was just being blocked by, any ship that passed by is blocked by their jammers or something. It's just, like I said, there's that could all be true. But if the movie can't even get that point across to me, then that's just bad writing. So I don't know. I know what he wanted to do with the humans, but I couldn't get a sense of if he was trying to go with them and then just do what he wanted to do from there, or just lure people in and, do it there. I don't know. What did you like? Did you like, kind of like what Walter started out a little interesting, and then I feel like it just kind of focused on David after, and he just became a kung fu fighting robot.
Well, the relationship between Walter and David was kind of interesting.
Sexual?
It was oddly phallically sexual with a recorder.
What was that part? Yeah, wait, what's that? Yeah, he has the recorder and he's like, you blow, I'll do the fingering.
Yeah, that's word for word. That's. But I mean, some of their discussions on humanity and, David is, he has a little bit more free will than Walter does. So, they're trading, ideas about how they view their place in all of this.
I think that was a good job.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was kind of good.
Yeah, but again, it just kind of it kind of stops because I guess they're like, oh, this might bore people. We need to go back to the aliens murdering people, because then he starts just leading other characters around to their deaths, while Walter's just Walter was sent to go, keep an eye on them and, report back. He never did that. Yeah. He just quickly got distracted by that recorder. And
you want to talk about the twist there at the ending? Because I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw it coming from the moment he cuts his hair. He starts to cut his hair. I was like, okay, they're going to have a scene where Walter goes and then they, maybe talk for a little bit or whatever. And then maybe Walter comes back and then he is David as Walter the entire rest of the movie until the very end. Even then you could see that coming, but it at least made sense for the story. This was just a dead giveaway where he grabs the knife.
When they end the fight without showing who wins.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's a dead giveaway. So anyone who's ever seen a movie ever knows that twist. So why did they act like it didn't happen until the very end? And then you're just and then expect us to be absolutely just shocked.
One guy was shocked. We had an annoying person in the movie theater who had a running commentary the entire time. He was pretty shocked at the end there.
So she had never seen a movie in her life.
It was a guy. And
guy? Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's no one should fall for that. And if it's one of those things that was a point as well where Ridley Scott shot that scene and he's just I got him. Boy, are they going to this is going to get them so good. They're going to be so surprised. No. Everyone saw that coming. And I don't care. I was just waiting for it to happen to get it out of the way. And even before you actually, he actually leans in and this movie gave me plenty of quotes to use later on. He says, don't let the bed bugs bite. like even before that moment, you see tons of examples why it would be him, because as an alien film always goes, they use all the tropes of alien films. One of them is you think the movie's over, and then the alien ends up on the ship, and they have to, one last ditch effort. They're like, Walter, like, do this, and then he just, you see it cuts to him smiling, like just a slight smile, and then he doesn't do what he's told, just like David didn't do what he was told the first time. And then they're like, do it, and then he does it, and it still acts like we're supposed to believe that that's Walter, and he just like didn't hear. That's what I'm saying. It's dumb. It's just like it treats the audience like we're idiots, and that this is some kind of huge story that's gonna change the world, and it's stupid in every way it comes across.
Well, was there anything good about this movie?
I don't know. It's a mix of I'm tired and I saw this movie. I think I got out. This is a long movie. Like, this movie, it's only 2 hours, which I've watched plenty of movies longer than that. But you feel every instance of this movie. So I think that's what really just sours it for me. I did enjoy, I think the first instance where you knew that, like, they step on the spores and get the aliens in their ears or whatever. And then when that actually, like, I knew, obviously you know what's going to happen. But to see that whole scene finally play out where that was good. The
alien actually comes out of the back of the guy when they're on the ship. Like, that whole scene was actually pretty well done, I thought, and pretty kind of intense and everything.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things that even though you can see it coming, it's shot well, where you don't, you're getting into it. And that's where I thought the movie was kind of going to pick up. And after that scene, which is still written just insanely dumb, where they take the guy who's, infected, there's 2 of them infected. They take the closest guy back to the ship, and he starts, convulsing and throwing up blood and whatever. He throws up on the one chick who's just like, I'll be right back, and locks the other girl in there. And then she goes and talks to her husband, and then realizes, like, hey, I locked that girl in there. She runs back, and you're like, okay, get her out. She won't let her out. It's completely idiotic.
And then they end up blowing up the ship there, and Billy Crudup's character keeps running back to it even though it's on fire and exploding. I know his wife's in it, but still.
Somebody comes running out just on fire and dies.
I don't even think that was her, because she was getting eaten by that little baby alien pretty bad. And
that wasn't her. I mean, he
move.
knew his wife was on the ship, is what I'm saying.
No, but they shot. They shot. You don't know. They shot it the way. They shot it where it looked like that was his wife coming out on fire, because he walks up to the ship and he's like, oh no, and then it shows this person walking out. So we're supposed to think like that's his wife, but again, like, how would I know that? And I don't think that. So, side note, as far as another thing to the writing goes, why is everyone married to someone on this ship? Tennessee's married to the mechanic who, blows up the ship by accident. The captain, Billy Crup's married to I don't remember her name, the one who gets eaten first. James Franco and Daniels are married. And then the 2 people in the shower are married. Why? Is this supposed to make me, like, feel when one of their significant others gets killed? Because I don't care. Because, I don't know these characters. It's just, you're not going to get that kind of response out of me with this. It's just, it's lazy. Was the action any good for you guys?
I thought it was shot decently.
Yeah, there's actually a couple good action scenes. I like the scene at night. Little neomorphs running around. That kind of got exciting, but was quickly over.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mentioned earlier, where it's all CGI, but they looked better at night when they were in. Again, like you said, Dylan, it was a lot of shots where they're just kind of running around, but they're so fast and like low to the ground. Like, that's pretty scary. It's not necessarily kind of what I wanted to see, but I was fine with it. I did think that one scene, it was just a second, but it was pretty good, where you hear the alien breathing behind that one girl who's like cleaning up, and then it just cuts to a close up of it breathing for a second, and then it jumps at her. I was like, that's pretty good. it didn't scare me, but it was still like you knew it was behind her. She knew it was behind her. You were just waiting to see it, and then you just see this weird white
Slender Man
blob.
looking thing.
Yeah, like that was fine. And then it cuts back, and you just see her head moving around. They show that shot a lot of her head just kind of floating in that pool. Sean, what do you think? Anything else that you want to bring up right now while we're hot and heated?
Wow. No, I think we covered most stuff. So, well, so obviously they set the ending up for a sequel. Do you want to see a sequel to this at all?
No, I do not. I want to see. I want to. Well, yeah, I know we're at least getting one regardless. I think if this movie was handled better, I would be fine with a sequel. Like Prometheus, I didn't like Prometheus. It didn't, scar me like a lot of other Alien fans did. And so when this sequel is announced and it takes place after the Prometheus timeline, I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Now I'd want nothing to do with this because, I mean, in a way, it ends itself anyway where you don't really need to see anything else. David got his way.
He's going to make a whole bunch of the xenomorphs we all know to love out of the humans because we find out that their DNA merges with whatever they latch onto or whatever and become that.
Yeah.
And so xenomorphs are like kind of part human, the ones that we know. And he's got a whole colony of humans to make his own out of. So
yeah, he got his host. And again, this is an instance of all these characters needed to die because the galaxy's better off. Because he saw David talking to that one alien after it murdered his friend, and he's just like, "You tell me what's going on, I'm going to shoot you." And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, come here and first look into this thing right here. It's fine." You're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, it's like in Prometheus, where like, hey, look at this black goop on the ground. Let's put our hands in this.
Yeah, like the spores thing is fine because it's like you wouldn't necessarily be. Although the second guy deserved it because again, you're like if you're trained for this journey, you don't know what's on this planet. Even though the stats say it's got life and whatever, you already knew there's no animals around, which is like a bad sign. They said it. Why would you poke things you don't know what they are?
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to be allergic to or.
Yeah. You might have a peanut allergy on this planet. You can't have that. There's no EpiPen.
What if peanuts had popped out of that thing instead of spores? That guy would have been done.
In space, no one can use an EpiPen.
But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this story is told through just, like, it progresses because characters are idiots and do things that no human being would do on a strange planet, especially if they're trained for this job. So that ruined it for me already. The aliens were hit or miss effects wise. I would have liked to seen a mix of more practical and CGI. And they want to make a sequel directly out of this, maybe like showing like the planet that maybe David goes to Orgine 6 and makes his planet there.
I think where this is going is because in Aliens you have that one planet that's just full of aliens. And I think that's where he's headed. And that's going to explain why they're all there. Yeah, and I think I'm not too good on the timelines of this, but I think this film took place a year or two before Alien. I think that alien at the end that they shoot out, I think that's probably going to be the one that ends up on the ship in the first Alien.
That would make sense.
No, it's not because, and that's what I thought too, actually, but you see that part where he's kind of getting back in the ship, and then she immediately ducks down, and he gets skewered by that.
The aliens, they get shot at and all kinds of stuff done to him.
Yeah, but he got like stabbed right through the chest.
It's speculation, Snoop. It's speculation.
I know, but that's the thing. Like with the writing the way it is, you're probably right, but that wouldn't make sense because if he did hit that ship, an alien, so would that giant vehicle he's attached to, and he'd already have a chest or a huge wound through his chest. So he'd probably be pretty weak. That's what I'm saying. This is all. That's all we can do is speculate how this is going to go, and whatever we come up with, it's probably going to be worse when they actually make it. But what I want to see is, I want to see them like Neil Blomkamp was making his movie before Ridley Scott got just shut him down, and that timeline was going to take place after Aliens and kind of be the new Alien 3. Now Neil Blomkamp, he's only done one movie that I actually love. The rest are, fine or just bad to me. But I still would have been fine with whatever he would have put out, because it would have probably gone back to this, this feel of what Alien and Aliens were. So
what would be your guys' favorite Alien movie? Not like this franchise, but Aliens, any kind of aliens, like Predator.
As far as
The Thing.
I love The Thing. The Thing's an amazing movie.
I love the original Thing. That would probably be like, that kind of does what this film, like that film does a lot of what this film tried to do, as far as its twist and everything, but way better. Like, even the ending, you're like, which one?
Yeah, where they're trapped in this specific location, they can't get out, and they're stuck with this thing.
The Thing.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, and even the prequel film isn't awful. The effects aren't as great because it's all CGI, and you can kind of pick that out, but it's fine. And I just don't. Ridley Scott came up with these ideas. He made the first Alien film. He did the first Blade Runner. But I'm glad he's not doing the next Blade Runner movie. He did not need to do this film.
You know what I think also a problem with these movies aesthetically, and less with this one as compared to Prometheus, is I think these movies are too clean. Like, because when you go back to the first Alien movie, like, that ship, it looks like people have been living on it for years. It's dirty. It's...
Yeah.
And you get to Prometheus and everything's pristine.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah. That white room, that piano, that flute looks pretty good. David looks absolutely gorgeous, but a lot of that goes to Michael Fassbender, of course. Give credit where credit is due, guys. But yeah, I just don't care. Anything I had towards these films is pretty much just gone after this one. This one was just exhausting to get through.
This is a franchise they just kind of need to stop. It's like there hasn't been a good one in like 30 years.
Yeah, and there's been different reasons for those. Like, I think David Fincher was going to make a good one, but studios interfered so much he doesn't even.
He disowned it.
Yeah, he disowned that film, and we know that was before David Fincher became the director he is. But I'm sure he could have done great with that, and it sucks we'll never get that film. But even the Aliens 3 and 4 were better than these last two ones have been.
Dinner time.
Such a mess, that dog. But I guess...
Yeah, don't waste your time like we did.
Yeah, we did this for you guys. I mean, obviously go see it if you want to. And if you do love this film, I'm glad it was what you wanted it to be. A lot of people have, like this because they just enjoyed people getting killed by aliens. So if that's what you were going for, then, I wish I had gone in with the same mindset.
Oddly enough, I didn't. You said you really felt the time on this. I kind of didn't. It wasn't good, but I wasn't like constantly looking at my watch or anything like that.
Yeah,
like I was.
I really got fed up.
Well, it was about, and maybe it was just because I just saw Prometheus again not too long ago. I kind of knew what this was and what to expect, so I was just kind of like, I'm kind of stuck here for 2 hours. Let's just.
Yeah, I see. I think it's just because they said they weren't going to do that again. And I even thought that's how it may have started out when they brought the first scene in, and they're like, hey, who's my creator? I thought that whole scene with Michael Fassbender and everything was just going to be the main part of it, and just more or less just kind of put it in the background. But Ridley Scott just, he's set on doing this, and no one's set on stopping him. Maybe I am now, but I'm glad that there's hopefully only one more of these now, and that sucks because I wanted this franchise to pick back up again, and it just didn't do for me. But if you liked it, good on you. Tell me maybe what you did like. Tell me what you didn't. I don't know. Whatever makes you happy. So before we end the review, we, of course, as Sean and probably Dylan knows, we have to give it an unnecessary rating that means nothing. I'm going to give this film one dead Shaw, and two little baby white xenomorphs, because I actually enjoyed them running around. They were pretty scary. But I'm also going to take away $8 because someone owes me money for this.
Well, I am going to give this movie 2 phallic-shaped recorders.
I'll give it 1 chest buster because they didn't give us a chest buster. They gave us a fully formed xenomorph that busted out of this guy's chest. I don't know.
Yeah, they grew up pretty quick. Like, I like that they were just like, what can we make the aliens come out of in this movie? And just write it all down and we'll put it all in. Because you had the back one. I think the second one came out of the dude's mouth because they were holding him down. And he's just like, well, I can't get out here. And then you had the chest buster. So, I mean, yeah.
I should have gave them some concept art because all their concept art got put in the movie. Just all of it. No matter what it was. It's never the same thing.
You know what the best looking part of this movie has been?
What's that?
The steelbook cover for the DVD that they released today. Have you seen it?
No.
It looks really great. Like, I hate this movie, but I want that steelbook cover. I'll put aliens in it. Maybe it's just like it's one of the white aliens kind of curled up in a ball, and he's just kind of floating, and there's like black alien goo around him. It looks really great, but the movie's crap to me anyway. If you like it, good on you. But yeah, not my favorite review, guys. I mean, It's over. It can't hurt me now that I know of. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
Do you guys believe in aliens?
No. No.
You don't?
No.
You don't believe that there's life out there, Snoop?
I mean, if there is, I certainly don't care now. It just wants to pop out of my back.
Dylan, are you bleeding this into one of your alien talks?
Maybe. I mean...
Do we have an hour?
It's not going to be an hour.
Oh, all right. 30 minutes.
I just think, not these kind of aliens, like, maybe not even intelligent aliens.
Do you believe in the Greys, Dylan? Like the Grey aliens?
Greys? No, I don't believe in the Greys.
Are those the Arrival things?
No, the Greys are the typical abductee.
Yeah, think Roger from American Dad.
Yeah, the, like, big... weird bug eyes and
the black
counter
eyes
the ones that what was that movie? Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
X-Files.
Oh, that's a good X-Files episode. Which one? I mean, they've been in a couple, I think, but
yeah, that was like the whole
Wang Chun's from Outer Space or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a great episode. But,
what about you, Sean? You believe in aliens? You believe that the possibility of extraterrestrial life?
I'm open to the idea that we're not alone in the universe.
I guess, yeah, I could. I don't know why we're talking about this, but it's because Dylan's our special guest. I don't want to make him happy, but
I just sit through this shit movie.
That's fine. You did that. I'm not necessarily opposed to the concept of like they exist, but I don't know if I would want to meet them.
I mean, it's just be bacteria.
Well, I was gonna say if there is life in the universe, it's probably some mold or bacteria under a rock on some distant moon somewhere.
Yeah, our universe is still pretty young. I mean, we could be the very first beings that have gotten lucky enough to have a planet to get close enough to the sun to create life and create us with consciousness. But who says that's not happening a couple light years away next door?
I think what you're trying to say is that old Guy Pearce made us all, and that he gave us all thought. Yeah?
Fuck old Guy Pearce.
He needs
old
tea.
Guy Pearce.
I'm going to get him some tea.
He wanted something.
I'll be back.
He wanted something greater, but it's not that. It's not that way.
So do you believe that?
Right. If you guys are if you guys are going to talk about that, that's fine. But I'm gonna take this dog outside.
Okay.
And then we get back to the podcast. I'll be right back.
All right, Snoop.
So do you think? I know you find aliens. This podcast has become something else.
Snoop got him and walked away.
Okay, so back to the alien podcast. I know you find a lot of interest in aliens. Do you think aliens have visited Earth before? Any chance of that, or
no? I mean, it was interesting back in the early 1950s, the huge phenomenon of these really interesting photographs people have taken these lights, this, and that's what really sparked me going into my elementary school library as a kid, looking at these pictures well, what the fuck is that for real? But knowing now that there's anomalies and cameras and lights in the sky and just things that can be construed as something totally different, that's you know, I learned that that's probably 99% of what everything is, and there's some things that we just don't know. Like, we don't know how that picture was taken. But, yeah, it's just...
Well, have you ever read about the Fermi paradox?
No.
It's kind of the idea that, basically, if there is all these other life forms on the planet, like, out there in the universe, why haven't we contacted them by yet?
Yeah.
Like, why hasn't that happened?
I mean...
And there are some answers to that. Some of them are like, we are the only life forms in the universe, which some people find horrifying. Another possibility is we're the most advanced life forms in the universe.
Yes, that is a possibility.
But it's just kind of like, you know, just statistically speaking, you know, you've heard of the Drake equation, haven't you?
No.
It estimates the potential of, like, how many civilizations are out there.
Yeah.
So, if there's X number of civilizations out there, why haven't we met them? This whole idea.
Well, I like that. That's interesting.
But, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if the universe is infinite, then there's got to be something going on out there. Like, it can't all just be dead space, you know? Some atmosphere is forming somewhere. But
oh, yeah, you look at some of the pictures taken by the Hubble telescope, you know, we just see darkness when we look at it, but when you look at it through the Hubble telescope, you just see thousands upon thousands of little tiny dots, and each dot is a galaxy.
Yeah.
So
there's got to be something going on. I mean, like, aliens like we see in the movies or any of that stuff, no, that's just silly.
Yeah.
Mexicans, those are real. That's a real problem.
Dylan's not racist, people. No, so you don't buy into any of the Roswell stuff or the Area 51 or any of that?
No.
I can't believe y'all are still talking about it.
Well, you told us to take up space.
I just said to just talk until I get back. I'm going to cut this out.
No, don't. Leave it in.
Yeah, and then that leads to, you know, is God real?
No. I don't have you on the show for this. I don't have you on the show for this. We don't talk about that. I told you. Did I not? Were you not listening? We talk about movies, comics, TV, some other thing.
Well, do we talk about Stan Lee? Yes.
Oh, he's amazing.
Stan Lee.
The Watchers.
His parents.
Look, we got to get back to the show. All right. We're going to try this again. We did a review. We got you guys to settle down, just out of control. So we've got time for one more segment of the show. Dylan, I'd love to have you join us if you're game for it.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's check some stuff out, huh, guys? Yeah?
Check it out.
Sure.
All right, check it out. Well, as everyone who listens to the show knows, Check It Out is that segment where we talk about stuff we've been checking out. Movies, the comics, the TVs, all the stuff. And we're going to tell you guys about it and whether it's worth your time. So, Dylan, what have you been checking out?
There's a new movie I'm looking forward to picking up on DVD this Tuesday called The Void.
Oh, I've heard of that. It's kind of like a throwback to like 80s horror, isn't it?
Yeah, like 80s horror and kind of like H.P. Lovecraft type stuff. So, and it looks pretty. It's like a small indie film kind of, but it definitely has like an element of like space and kind of like alien monsters, like these eternal being kind of type deal. It looks really cool. Definitely piqued my interest.
Yeah, I knew it came out last year, and you know, not a lot was said about it when it was released, but now people are really looking into it and seem to be enjoying it. It's just two guys who I don't really think they've done anything before this, but they just wrote it and directed it. So yeah, I wouldn't mind giving that a go.
Well, I'm gonna get it so you can come watch it or borrow it.
Oh, we can watch it together. It'll be such a good time. You can hold me when I get scared. So, pretty much right when the credits start. Nothing scares me more than credits. There's too many names to read. Can't keep up with it. Well, Sean, what have you been checking out I know you got a busy life.
Yeah, I got a few things. I read the first issue of Black Bolt from.
The new one that they just started.
Yeah, they just came out with earlier in this month.
Oh, nice! How was that?
It was good. It was so Black Bolt. He's been captured. He's on some alien planet somewhere. He's got to fight the Absorbing Man.
Oh, of course.
And spoiler alerts, he finds out his power has been taken away. He can't like destroy everything with his voice anymore.
How did he find that out? Did he stub his toe really hard and then he screamed and the world didn't blow up?
No, he went to he just fought like the Absorbing Man just like barehanded. He was like, I'm going to save my voice for later. And then he gets to like the ending of the issue and he goes to use it and he just talks normally and nothing happens.
That's awkward. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I know. I knew he was captured because I think it's in the first issue of the new Royals book, which started before that. I think Maximus the Mad was supposed to be imprisoned for what he did during the...
Yeah, he's in... Yeah, they mentioned that in the book that this was where Maximus was supposed to be.
Yeah, he basically... he was convicted by the royal family and he was going to be sent to this place, and then he's talking to Black Bolt and then walks away, and then you realize that they imprison... I don't know if he just has some kind of mind trick on everybody and they think that's him or what, but yeah, these Inhuman books have supposedly been pretty good and everyone loves Black Bolt, so I'm glad you checked that out. Maybe I'll give it a go now too. Maybe you just lend me that copy.
I
give it a good share.
Might.
You just might. We'll have to wait next time.
Hey, Snoop.
On Dragon Ball Z. What?
What have you been checking out?
Oh, I was glad someone asked. I actually, I talked to you about this earlier this week, Dylan. I checked out the first couple episodes of Master of None Season 2.
Oh, yeah. It's a real good show.
Yeah, I really enjoy the show. Aziz does a lot of this himself. I know these first 2 episodes he directed, and he writes a lot of it as well, I think, with Alan Yang, which he's been in the show a couple times, I believe. He's the Asian friend from the first season who's
yeah.
Brian. In a couple episodes. Yeah, I think he's more on the creative side, but I don't know. I don't know why I like this show as much as I do. It's smart, it feels...
It's modern.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So
they feel like real people, these characters, and I really love these characters. You have, of course, Eric Warheim's in there, and he's great, and he kind of adds this more wacky vibe to it. Any episode that he's heavily in feels like Tim and Eric sometimes, but it's about Aziz's character. His name's Dev, right?
Yeah, Dev.
Yeah, just kind of going through life, just trying to figure out what he wants out of it. Does he want to be married? Does he, he's an actor, but he's just... It's interesting because in the first season especially, it covers a lot of things you wouldn't necessarily think about from his point of view. He's an actor, but what are the kind of roles that up-and-coming minority actors can get? And he doesn't want to kind of he doesn't want to kind of go along with these stereotypes I don't want to do the Indian accent. But everyone else is like, if you want a job, you have to do the Indian accent. And that's sad to kind of to see that. It's not a lot of shows cover something like that. And I think that's what he's really going for here.
And I like his views on, trying to find love and, the dating world. And he does a really good job portraying how it is today. So
yeah, it's like you said, it's a really modern show. And but I feel like a lot of people can really get into this and, 30s or kind of closer to our age can really relate to it. And like I said, it's got some good comedy in there. I love it whenever I think his name's Arnold in the show, Eric Warheim's character. Yeah, he's so funny.
Just say they're in Italy, and instead of saying hello, he always says DiGiorno.
Oh yeah, DiGiorno. And we have this they had just had such a good friendship on the show, his buddy friendship. They help depend on each other for a lot of things, even just little things. I think he's introducing Dev to dating online because he's going through a breakup, and he's like, you should use some of these apps like the one I use, Tall Boys, where it's just for girls who love really big guys like me. And then it's just a picture of him and Dev, and he's like, why are you using me as your profile picture? He's like, big dude needs little dude for perspective, man. And he's like, oh, that's cool, I guess, but I'm going to use that same profile picture for Little Boys app. He's like, I hope there's not an app with little boys in the title. Yeah, no, I've only seen the first 3 episodes. I've been pretty busy, but I'm definitely ready to just binge the rest of them. There's only 10 each season.
Yeah,
so.
it's only just 5 hours. You can do it in an afternoon, which is kind of sucks because it's so good. But
yeah, and then it's over. But what we're saying is get into it.
Master of None.
Yeah, really great show. Well, Sean, have you been checking out anything else? You say you got a few things you want to brag about over there.
Yeah, well, speaking of other Netflix shows, I started watching season 3 of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go in on that probably next week. I have to do my annual binge with my friend. We've watched every season in like a day. How is this one so far?
It's good. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. Yeah, because I didn't think season 2 was quite as good as season 1, and I kind of have the feeling that this is going to kind of keep trending downwards in quality. But I mean, it's still funny. Like you have a nice moment where what's his face, the roommate,
Titus?
Yeah, Titus. He has like a lemonade moment where he acts out Beyonce's music videos, not just one, like basically all of them from that album.
Oh yeah. He's the best.
Well, yeah, like there's a moment where like he thinks somebody might be hitting on his boyfriend, and Kimmy's like, "How do you even know he's gay?" He's like, "It's the '90s, Kimmy. Everybody's gay." Like stuff like that. It's funny.
I love his character. Just everything about him.
Reminds me of my old boss.
Oh, Dedrick
Beckham, my old boss.
Shout out to Dedrick.
But
that's what this episode was about. Alien ranting. Check it out, and Dedrick.
A lot of stuff that had to be cut out. What was I going to say?
A lot of concepts America wasn't ready for.
Speaking of Netflix, they're going to screw me over this next month, guys. They're going to screw me over.
Why's that?
Oh,
because like over the next month, they're releasing everything. Like next week is they're doing House of Cards season 5, F is for Family season 2. The week after that, you got Orange is the New Black season 5, and I still got to watch season 2 of Master of None also. So it's piled up. The old Netflix is screwing me over.
Well, luckily HBO's they're thinking about you and giving you a little break between Game of Thrones, so you can catch up on that stuff. I didn't know F is for Family got a second season. Yeah. I love that show. When does it come out?
Next week, next Friday.
Oh, we got our episode then, Sean.
Is that what you want to do?
I wouldn't mind it.
Because I was gonna watch House of Cards first, and then watch that. Was my plan.
It's always about you. Never about the good people of this podcast. You selfish whore.
I know.
But
that's what you love about me.
I watched a pilot to a new show on ABC. It was pretty funny, actually.
What's that?
It's called Downward Dog. It's...
Are you making this up?
No, I swear. It's got the chick from Fargo, the first season.
Oh, Mag, whatever.
Yeah, she's a dog owner, and she's really busy with her career, and she has this dog. And it's kind of like, the dog sits down and has interviews with the camera, like The Office style kind of TV show, and gives his perspective. And it's actually really funny. It's called Downward Dog. It sounds silly, but it's funny.
Well, speaking of comedy, I think we're kind of moving into a direction where comedy is a little bit more silly on TV now, instead of just, your typical sitcom with a family or just a workplace sitcom. Because you have stuff like The Last Man on Earth, what you just mentioned. You have that, you have Angie Tribeca, which is very much a send-up of, like, Police Squad and all that.
Yeah, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt's out there. And I'm perfectly fine with that. That's been and not even the way it's been shot has been, like, it's not just your, wide shot, live audience sets anymore. You don't need, laugh track's been done for a while, thank God. You still have shows hanging on to it. I'm talking to you, Big Bang Theory. You're not funny. But anyway, I'm definitely getting a lot more into comedy than I would have thought, because it's kind of the genre I stay most away from besides horror. Comedies are just hit or miss for me, but a lot more of it's been better. in the last couple of years, and I think that's a lot of it has to do with they're letting writers kind of write now instead of just, here's the formula, have these beats in here, and we'll see you next week. Well, so that's good.
Yeah, where I was going with that is it's almost like we're going back to the 60s when it comes to comedy in a way where you had, stuff like The Addams Family and Gilligan's Island and just kind of these more out there comedies, Green Acres. So, I don't know. It'll be neat to see where we're at in 5 years when it comes to that.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be around.
Hopefully.
And if I have to watch another Alien movie, then I probably won't be.
Assuming we don't get drafted into World War III, we'll be around.
No, we're skipping 3, going straight to 4. We don't have time for 3.
Finally.
Or at least we're taking this seriously now.
What about Kyle? Has Kyle checked out anything?
Our silent correspondent over there.
You haven't seen anything, Go?
No.
Nothing?
I've been watching Aliens.
He's been watching the Aliens movies.
Oh, have you never seen the first couple ones, Kyle? Got a lot of guests in here.
You haven't seen 3 and 4, have you?
I saw 4 a long time ago.
Okay.
All right. Well, you let me know how that goes, Kyle, because I'd love to talk to you about some alien stuff. Turn me around. I'm sure you can. If anyone can, it's Kyle. It's just a man of few words, but it doesn't take much to change your mind. But yeah, I mostly, been working and stuff. I checked out Master of None. I'm going to finish it. I finally finished Blackest Night. Really good stuff. I'm moving straight on to the crossover, or the next crossover, Brightest Day, which you haven't read that one, have you, Sean?
No, that's one of the few parts of Jeff Johns' runs I haven't read. Yeah,
it's started out pretty solid so far. I've only read like the 0 issue, which was like 60 pages, but it takes some characters who just kind of come, they're important at the end of Blackest Night. I don't want to spoil too much, but Sean will know what I'm talking about, where you see the white rings flying around and then they do something to certain people. Mm-hmm. Wink. Yeah. It's about them. So, and kind of what their, role is now in this after Blackest Night. So it's one of those things that like Blackest Night was really long. It was really good, but it did, it took a lot. It took a lot to power through that one just because it was a lot. I enjoyed every minute of it, but I'm glad this one's only 25 issues that I can, get in and get out. So I think that'll be good. They don't have to move on to something else. I think I'm going to pick up some Rebirth after this. Just start that again. See what's going on over with the guys over at DC. What are they up to these days? What's Damian doing? He's probably
still being annoying. Let's hope so.
I think it's just every other book he's annoying now. Just whoever writes him. People love that aspect of him. I think it's the worst. Maybe I'm just not seeing something. But, ugh. Well, if that's all you guys got, I guess we can end the show. Unless, Dylan, you got one more word for the people?
Nope. I saw behind the scenes picture for this new Predator movie.
Oh, Shane Black's Predator.
Yeah, and they were like in a tank or something. So this is how. This is all right. And I learned that Arnold Schwarzenegger is apparently coming back for the Terminator 6.
Finally.
So these things just never end.
Another franchise that needs to end. Yeah,
Terminator, Alien, and Predator, they've been through some rough stuff. More so the first two. Predator's just, I think the problem with Predator is that, or what works for Predator is there's only been 3, so we really can't be completely tired of it by now.
Well, they had the 2 Alien versus Predator movies.
Oh yeah, I count those as their own thing though, because they're all over in their own world.
I like the third Predator movie a lot.
Predators? I liked it too. We watched that one together. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was, I think the first one's the best, but I think that was a solid movie.
Topher Grace did good in that movie. Never thought I'd say that.
It's because his spidey sense wasn't tingling.
If you know what I mean.
But yeah, I guess that'll about do it. I'm really exhausted after talking about Alien. So join us next week, guys. But if you want to get in touch with us before then, you can find this episode and any of our other episodes on SoundCloud and iTunes and YouTube. And if you want to send us a letter, please do that. theunnecessarygentlemen@gmail.com. If you want to just talk to me and, tell me what you think of Sean, find me on Twitter at @Snoop_Lynch. If you want to do the same with Sean, but talk about me instead, what are you, Sean? You're at the first Sean. You're the first Sean, right?
I don't even know if that thing still exists. I haven't looked at it in like 2 months.
Okay, well, what we can do is I know my Twitter, and so they can message me things that they want to talk to you about. Like if it's stuff if they want to insult me, like just send it to me and then I'll tell Sean about it.
And then I'll be like, good, that they were right about that.
And then I'll write back and forth. It's fine. I've got some free time coming up, so it'll be fine. And thanks, Dylan, for coming on for another episode. We really appreciate your input.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, buddy. Thanks, Kyle, for just sitting there waiting for us in case we need you. Glad you're checking out some stuff.
He's nodding.
He's nodding with approval. Good. That's all I need. And, of course, a big thank you to anyone who listens to the show. We really appreciate your support. And join us next week for maybe we'll talk about F is for Family Season 2. Maybe Sean will pick a different topic.
No, it's
up to him.
It's your week to pick.
I picked Alien.
Diary
Don't let me
of
pick
a
again.
No, that was something we had to review. Like, when it's reviewed, we don't do it.
What about
All right.
Transformers?
No. That's
Is that
we
coming out
don't
next
have many.
I don't know. I don't care.
Probably we don't have many rules for this podcast, but it's no Transformers, no Fast and Furious. We always have to review Diary of a Wimpy Kid whenever it comes out, and of course, always have fun.
Always have fun.
Wait, we were supposed to be having fun while doing this?
Well, this week was an exception because we had to watch Alien. But next week, it's back to basics.
Hey, it was fun talking shit, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good at that.
Yeah. But until then, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.